Imagine a man who was loved and feared at the same time. A man who rose from humble beginnings to control a multi-billion-dollar empire that influenced governments, terrified the world, and changed the face of his country forever. Pablo Escobar, the infamous king of cocaine. But how did he become one of the most powerful and ruthless criminals in history? And how did it all come crashing down? Stay with us as we unravel the life of the man known as El Patron. Early life and humble beginnings. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in a small town called Rio Negro, located in the Antioquia department of Colombia. He grew up in a modest home. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a schoolteacher. Life wasn't easy for young Pablo, but even as a child, he was ambitious and had big dreams. Escobar grew up in the city of Medellin, which would later become his stronghold. From an early age, he showed a knack for business, although not always legal. It is said that he started his criminal career by selling stolen tombstones and smuggling fake diplomas. These early hustles set the stage for a life that would soon spiral into much bigger and more dangerous ventures. By his teenage years, Pablo was already involved in petty crimes such as selling contraband cigarettes and stealing cars. But he knew this wasn't enough. He wanted more. He craved power and wealth. And soon, he found the opportunity that would change his life forever: drug trafficking. The birth of a drug empire. In the 1970s, cocaine began to emerge as a popular drug in the United States, and Pablo Escobar saw a massive business opportunity. He started small by helping to smuggle coca paste from Peru and Bolivia into Colombia, where it was refined into cocaine. Soon, Escobar realized the enormous potential of the cocaine trade and decided to take control of the entire process, from production to distribution. It wasn't long before Escobar founded the Medellin cartel. The cartel became one of the most powerful and profitable drug trafficking organizations in history. By the late 1970s, Escobar's cartel was smuggling massive amounts of cocaine into the United States, making millions of dollars a day. It is said that at the height of his power, Pablo Escobar was earning around $420 million every week. Escobar's wealth grew so fast that he ran out of places to store his money. He bought luxury homes, private planes, and even a personal zoo filled with exotic animals. His fortune was so large that, according to some reports, he had to spend over $1,000 a week just on rubber bands to wrap his cash. Escobar's rise to power. As Escobar's drug empire grew, so did his power. But he wasn't just a drug lord. He wanted to be seen as a hero by the poor people of Colombia. He used his vast wealth to build schools, hospitals, and housing projects for the underprivileged in Medellin. He became a sort of Robin Hood figure, loved by many who saw him as a man who gave back to the people. But this public image hid a much darker reality. Behind the charity work, Escobar was a ruthless criminal who would stop at nothing to protect his empire. He bribed government officials, judges, and police officers to turn a blind eye to his activities. And for those who couldn't be bought, there was only one other option: death. Escobar's infamous motto became plata o plomo, which translates to silver or lead, meaning you could either take a bribe or a bullet. His cartel was responsible for countless murders, bombings, and assassinations, all aimed at eliminating rivals and enemies. Escobar's reach was so extensive that it is estimated he was responsible for over 4,000 deaths during his reign. The political ambitions of a drug lord. Pablo Escobar wasn't satisfied with just being the king of cocaine, he wanted political power too. In 1982, he was elected as an alternate member of Colombia's Congress. His political ambition was simple: if he could become part of the government, he could protect his drug empire from legal threats. However, his entry into politics drew the attention of the world. People began to see the true extent of his criminal activities. Eventually, Escobar's enemies in the government and the press worked together to expose his drug connections. The pressure became too much, and Escobar was forced to resign from his position in Congress. But this was just the beginning of his battle with the Colombian government. War with the government and los extraditables. As the U.S. government began pressuring Colombia to extradite drug traffickers to face justice in America, Escobar declared war. He formed a group called Los Extraditables, a coalition of drug lords who opposed extradition. Their slogan was simple: "We prefer a grave in Colombia to a prison cell in the United States." Escobar unleashed a wave of terror on Colombia. Bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings became daily occurrences. Journalists, politicians, judges, anyone who spoke out against him became a target. In 1989, he ordered the bombing of Avianca Flight 203, killing over 100 people, in an attempt to kill a presidential candidate. Escobar's reign of terror gripped the country. The violence escalated to such a degree that the Colombian government, with the help of the U.S., launched an all-out war to capture him. But Escobar was elusive, using his wealth and connections to evade capture time and time again. La Catedral, the prison palace. In 1991, facing mounting pressure from the U.S. and Colombia's government, Escobar made a surprising deal. He agreed to surrender and serve time in prison, but on his terms. Escobar built his own luxury prison, known as La Catedral, complete with a nightclub, jacuzzi, soccer field, and even a waterfall. From inside La Catedral, Escobar continued to run his drug empire as if nothing had changed. His cartel still smuggled cocaine, and Escobar still ordered assassinations. Eventually, the Colombian government realized that La Catedral was more of a palace than a prison, and they decided to move Escobar to a real jail. But before they could, Escobar escaped, disappearing into the mountains surrounding Medellin. The manhunt that followed was one of the largest in history, involving thousands of Colombian soldiers and U.S. agents from the DEA. The fall of Escobar. For more than a year, Escobar remained on the run. He moved from safe house to safe house, always staying one step ahead of the authorities. But his empire was crumbling. The Medellin cartel was weakened, and Escobar's former allies began to turn against him. He had lost many of his closest associates, and his family was under constant threat. On December 2, 1993, one day after his 44th birthday, Pablo Escobar was finally tracked down. The Colombian National Police, with the help of U.S. intelligence, located him hiding in a house in Medellin. A gunfight broke out, and Escobar was shot and killed as he tried to escape across the rooftop. The death of Pablo Escobar marked the end of an era. His life was a mix of unimaginable wealth, power, violence, and terror. But even in death, his legacy lives on. Today, he remains one of the most infamous criminals in history, a man whose name is still spoken with both awe and fear. Legacy and impact. Pablo Escobar's impact on Colombia and the world cannot be understated. He helped to shape the global drug trade, turning cocaine into a multi-billion-dollar industry. But his actions also left a trail of destruction. Thousands of lives were lost, and the violence he unleashed in Colombia affected generations. For many in Medellin, however, Escobar is remembered as a benefactor who gave back to the poor. His image is still complicated, with some people idolizing him as a hero, while others see him as a brutal criminal who brought pain and suffering to his country. Escobar's life serves as a reminder of the dangerous power that comes with immense wealth and how easily it can corrupt. Though his story has been romanticized in movies and television shows, the reality of his life was far darker. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Pablo Escobar. If you found this story intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating documentaries on history's most infamous figures. Let us know in the comments who you'd like us to cover next.